We're going to be tapping this Toyota IFS steering box. If you're planning on doing hydraulic assist, you're going to need to do this. You don't need to spend a bunch of money to buy a tap box. It's fairly simple as long as you got a little bit of mechanical knowledge and some tools. And we'll go over some of the tools that you're going to need specifically for this. So some of the tools you're going to need an awl, 10 millimeter with a breaker bar, a ratchet, 14 millimeter socket, 7/16 drill bit, and an assortment of other drill bits to start small and work up, a punch, a piece of string, 1/4x18 national pipe thread tap with a 7/16 8-point socket, 3/8 ratchet, impact, cordless or air, and a deadwood hammer, some kind of marking tool, and tape measure, and a drill. Okay, so first thing that you got to do is you got to find center in your box. Rotate this all the way one direction. You will kind of puke some oil, so make sure you have some kind of catch pan or rags. It's easier to do it in a vise, but so crank this. It should go 4 1/4 turns one direction. One, 2, 3. See how it's making a mess. 4 1/4. So now we'll rotate it back the other direction. Mark this down here. Just mark it on this line with the steering box. 2 1/8 turn back that way. So that's an 1/8. It's 1, 2 right there. That should be dead center between your marks down here on this box. So now that we're all centered up, we can take this end cap off on the sector shaft. So we got the end bolts off on the sector shaft. Takes a 14 millimeter, just 4 bolts. Take your rubber hammer. Probably grab some rags because it is kind of messy. Now that we got the sector shaft out, and I made a big ass mess, we'll move on to this input shaft. Okay guys, now that we got the sector shaft out, you got to pull this 10 millimeter bolt out right here to be able to remove the input shaft. Takes a 10 millimeter Allen right here. So now that we got the Allen head out, now we can pull the input shaft out. There's a bunch of ball bearings inside here. If you pull this out and let it spin off, it's gonna freaking come apart and you're gonna have to replace your box. So you're never gonna get them back in. So when you pull this out, make sure that you grab this so it doesn't spin off. Now that that's out of the way, we got a clean box. Take some rags, stuff them inside here where your input shaft goes. Take some rags, stuff them in here, and then we'll start marking out for the holes where you're going to be drilling and tapping it. First hole usually lands right in here. Inside here there's a vein that runs from this side to about this point right here. It's easiest if you take a piece of string. So you take this string, set your awl in there, line it up with this mark in the back. Take your centering punch. Take you some rags, stuff them down in this hole. That way we can at least try and mitigate some of the metal shavings that are gonna start going down inside here. Because whatever goes in there, we're gonna have to clean them out later. So we got those in there. So on this next spot, if you measure in 2.5 inches, down 3/4 of an inch from where it says Toyota, drill another hole right here. Some people drill them right in between the D and the A on the Toyota, but it pushes it so tight to here you don't get a lot of room to work. So you can take it right into here, and you still have enough meat to where you can tap it, and it's still thick enough right in there that you don't really have to worry about it. Now that we got this side drilled and tapped, now we got to clean the box out. All this metal shavings inside here needs to get gone. It's a lot of cleanup. You got to make sure that you got all that out of the bearings inside here. Do not leave any metal shavings inside there. It'll just destroy the box. Burn the bearings up inside here. I usually spray going from the sector shaft and down here. Just kind of tilt your box. Tilt your box down. Move that catch pan down there just to catch some of the shit. You want to try and not use air if you can on this. If you use air, you're just going to push metal shavings into any of the orifices inside here. Not good. Okay, so we're to the point that we're going to start putting this back together. Like I said before, do not, when you go to put this back in, don't let go. All bearings are going to go everywhere. Rotate this down until all the teeth are centered in this window. Kind of push this in just a little bit. Get it freaking lined up a little bit. It's not crucial. It'll kind of square itself up once we put the sector shaft in there. Spray this down also. Get any of that old stuff, old oil and all that off there. Now that we got the sector shaft in, tighten up all these bolts, put your centering valve back in. You can use some RTV, but I just figure that the O-rings in there are good enough. When you pull it apart, there's no RTV in there either. So Centering valve. Be a hell of a lot easier if I could find my magnet. Spring. That is a drilled and tapped IFS steering box. Like I said, make sure that you put plugs in these if you're not ready for hydro assist. If you're ready for hydro assist, put your fittings in and run your lines down to your hydraulic cylinder, and you got hydraulic assist. Well, thanks guys. That's drilling and tapping an IFS steering box for a Toyota. Make sure you pound that subscribe button.